Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Hari Om. So we started a new text last week, Saddarshanam. And in the last class, we saw that the word Saddarshanam means Brahma Vidya. Sat means truth, reality, or Brahman. Darshanam means vision. So it is the knowledge or Vidya. So it is only Brahma Vidya. Although Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi speaks from his experiential knowledge of the self, we find that the teaching of Brahma Vidya given in this text is consistent with Prasthanatrayam, the traditional source of Brahma Vidya. Prasthanatrayam means, as you all know, the Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita. So they form the foundation of our philosophy, that darshanam. So we look upon this text, Saddarshanam, also as a pramana grantha, a very valid text for this knowledge. And we look upon Ramana Maharshi as a traditional guru only. With that in place, we will know how to interpret this text. The study of this text would be based on the traditional method of study only, which is Shruti, scriptures, Yukti, logic, and Anubhuti, personal experience. So we will study this text based on these traditional norms, traditional way of studies. The reason I'm giving you this preface is because some devotees of Ramana Maharshi, they take a different view. They sometimes are under the impression that he professed a new path altogether. This Atma Vichara, the Vichara Marga that he emphasizes, this inquiry into the self, they think it is a standalone. And when you take that approach, it makes it difficult. Okay? But if you take it in the context of Atma Vichara, that is done under the guidance of a guru and Shastra, it is very helpful. Although Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi apparently did not have a guru, and he gained this knowledge in this birth, apparently without a guru. We do not see it that way. We say he should have had a guru and gone through the entire process in prior births only. And whatever he says in this text, as well as in Upatesha Sara that we have seen years ago, he is very consistent with what is said in our Vedanta Upanishads only. So keep that in mind. Don't be fooled by some claims that it is a totally different method of study. So with that caveat, let us enter the text proper now. We went through the introduction last time. We are ready to take the first verse. So verse number 1. Satpratyayā kim nu vihāya santaṁ sapratyayā kim nu vihāya santaṁ hṛdyeṣa cintā-rahito hṛdākhyaḥ hṛdyeṣa cintā-rahito hṛdākhyaḥ kathaṁ smṛāmastamameyamekaṁ kathaṁ smarāmastamameyamekaṁ tasya smṛtistatra dṛḍhaiva niṣṭā tasya smṛtistatra dṛḍhaiva niṣṭā. Together. Satpratyayā kim nu vihāya santaṁ hṛdyeṣa cintā-rahito hṛdākhyaḥ kathaṁ smarāmastamameyamekaṁ tasya smṛtistatra dṛḍhaiva niṣṭā. So the first two verses of this text are Mangala Shloka, Mangalacharana, verses of invocation or benediction. As you all know, this is our tradition. We do not start anything without the Mangalacharanam. And this Mangalacharanam, this invocation, can be three different types or three different ways. One way of offering is best wishes to humanity, benediction or ashirvachanam. That's one way. The second method is offering prayers to the Lord, namaskarana rupa mangalacharanam. Namaskarana rupa mangalacharanam. That's the second one. And the third type is vastu nirdesha rupa mangalacharanam, which is the statement of the truth or a fact. And Ramana Maharshi uses the third type for this invocation. He's a unique style. He did the same thing in Upadeshasara also. The truth stated in the first verse is the definition of Brahman. So it is the statement of the truth or the fact that itself is the invocation. Brahma Lakshanam is presented in this verse. Brahman is the Vastu, the only reality, the divisionless reality, Akhanda, Advayam, the Sat principle, which is the very Adhisthana, the substratum of all plurality, of all divisions. That is Brahman. That is the foundation. That is the substratum, Adhisthana. Now, the primary division, the division that we see multiplicity, but all of them can be boiled down to just three. Primary division is Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara. That's all. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. And the Adhisthana of all the three is Brahman only. So the definition of this Brahman is given. For example, in Taittiriya Upanishad, we saw Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Satyam means Sat. Jnanam, Sat, existence. Jnanam, Chit. Chit, consciousness. Anantam means divisionless, limitless, infinite. All those are the meanings of the word Anantam. Infinite also means Advaitam, non-dual, Akhandam, unbroken, divisionless, all this. So all this is beautifully presented in this very first verse itself. So let us see that. In the first line, Brahman is revealed as Satyam, existence. How does Ramana Maharshi introduce existence? Whenever we experience an object, we are not experiencing the object only. There is one additional thing is there that we experience in every object. Along with each object, there is one other thing that we experience. We always experience two, not just the object. But what happens is, generally, we lose sight of the second. We do not even talk about it. Give you a simple example of how something is there, but we take it for granted. For example, suppose I show my hand like this and ask you, what do you see? Your answer will be, I see your hand. True, you are seeing my hand, but in addition to my hand, you are also seeing another thing that pervades the hand. But you have taken that for granted. And what is that? That is the light principle. That light principle that envelops the hand. If there was no light, you wouldn't see the hand either. You see the hand in that light only, but you have lost sight of that light. You will appreciate the role of the light only when the room is dark. Somebody was talking about tornado touchdown and people losing power and all that. At that time, you appreciate how much that electricity and the light. When it is not there, you appreciate it. So, Bhagavan says here, along with every object, you experience a second thing. And that second thing is existence of that object. You are not only experiencing the object, but you experience the existence of the object also. You experience the object as existing. Whenever you see anything at all, for example, you all have the Saddarsanam book. See the book? What do we say? The book is. And you are seeing all of us, and we say, there is a man. There is a woman. There is a pen. So it's all there. It's always there is, there is, there is. So is common inherent thing that we experience. This existence is the second thing that we experience along with every object. Thus, all the time, we experience object plus existence. A man plus existence equals man is. A woman plus existence equals woman is. So there are always two experiences. One is that of the man or the woman, and the second is existence. So this is the first point. Then Ramana Maharshi says, if you have the existence experience, it is possible because this existence principle is pervading every object. You experience the existence, or the existence experience is possible only because existence principle is permeating every object. If the existence principle does not permeate every object, you can never have the experience of that object. So the next question is, what is this existence principle that pervades every object, that is inhering every object? So you please recollect what we talked about. I've talked about this several times, but very important, so I will repeat again. You have to remember 5 points. The existence principle is not a part, product, or the property of the object. We said we experience an object and existence, always two things, but that existence is not a part, product, or property of that object. That is 1 point. Number 2, that existence principle is an independent entity, and that it pervades or lends existence to the object. So that's the second point. And the existence principle is not limited by the boundaries of the object. So if I point to my nose and I ask you to look at my nose, this object, this nose, it has boundaries. And this nose, along with the existence together, is helping all of you to experience this object. But just because this nose stops here, existence does not stop here. Existence is all over. The existence principle is not limited by the boundaries of the object. The existence principle is not bounded by the limitation, the boundaries of this body. That is the third point. Number 4, the existence principle will survive even after the end of the object. If this body were to drop dead, existence still survives. Body does not survive. The existence survives. Dead body is. So existence will be there. And when that happens, the surviving pure existence is not perceptible, not because it is not there. It is not perceptible because the medium is gone. That's all. So these are the 5 points you must remember. This existence principle permeates every object. Without the existence principle, the experience of existence is not possible. The experience of existence is expressed in the form of there is, there is, there is. There is a verbal expression of the cognitive experience of the existence principle. So the very first statement itself is a very subtle statement. Look at the first line, santaṁ vihāya, without permeation, without the inherent without the pervasiveness of santaṁ, existence principle, satpratyayā, the experience, the cognition of existence came. How is it possible? The experience of existence, can it take place without existence? Can the experience of existence happen without the permeation of existence? Therefore, the law is every experience presupposes an object of experience. A part experiences presupposes the existence of part outside. Man experience inside presupposes the presence of a man outside. Experience inside, experience existence inside presupposes the permeation of existence outside in every object. Without the Sat object, Sat knowledge will not happen. This existence principle is called Satyam, which is the first definition of Brahman. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. The first definition is Satyam. This is existence. So Brahman is existence permeating everything. Even if we say something is not, that is understood only with reference to something that is. Without the word is, you cannot even say is not. Okay, keep this in mind. In Vedanta, abhava is absence is a positive thing. So that is the beauty of that isness of existence. Objects may go on changing, or one and the same object may change in form, but existence stays as a common denominator. That Sat Vastu we have to find. And that is real. That's why Gita says, Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah. Nasato vidyate bhavaha. Non-existence never is. And na abhavaha vidyate satah. Existence never is not. The Sat Vastu has no absence at any time. That which never has any absence, that is reality. That is Satyam. When you buy some gold and make some ornament, say a bangle, then you change your mind and melt that gold and make a necklace or a ring, whatever. So what have you done? You have changed the form, and therefore once the form is changed, you give a different name to that ornament. The form and the names have changed, but what is underlying, supporting all those ornaments, that gold is always there. The Suvarna Buddhi does not change. The knowledge that it is gold. That's not. With this example, gold is satyam. So sat, that everything is, never changes. So this is the first idea he puts in, very first verse itself. Then after Satyam Brahma, Ramana Maharshi comes to Jnanam Brahma, the next pada. Yeshaha, this very same existence that permeates all objects, permeates me, the subject also. So existence is in me. So that is why I say I am. Every time I say I am, that am reveals the presence of existence in me. Okay? So where is it available? Hṛdī, in the heart. It is there in my heart, within the core of me. It's not the physical heart. Okay? Don't take it to be that way. It is available in my mind. Hṛdī means antakarane. Buddhau guhayam. Yo veda nihitam guhayam. Satyam jnanam anantam brahma yo veda nihitam guhayam. We saw in Taittiriya. So the existence is in the cave of the heart, or the cave of the mind, intellect. In the mind, the existence Brahman is available as Sakshi Chaitanya, in the form of the very consciousness principle, as awareness, as witness principle. The existence Brahman is available. When existence is available as consciousness in the mind, in hṛdākhyaḥ, it is called akhyaḥ, it is known as hṛd. It is given the name hṛd. When existence Brahman is available in the mind as witness consciousness, it is known as hṛd. In the mind, there are countless thoughts. Mind, as we have seen several times, is a flow of thoughts. So many thoughts continuously. Mind is the locus of continuous thoughts. So consciousness is available in association with every thought. Everyone who enters a room is bathed in, is soaked in the light that pervades a room. Even as the person enters, his body is enveloped in the light, the shine. Similarly, every thought that enters the mind is soaked in, is coated with, is associated with the consciousness principle. This consciousness, in association with every thought, is called an experience. Consciousness associated with a pen is called pen experience. Consciousness associated with a man thought is called man experience. Thus, every experience has consciousness associated with every thought. This consciousness is available in the mind intimately with every thought, giving rise to experience after experience. Associated with the objects outside, it is called existence. Associated with the thoughts inside, it is called experience. That's all. Brahman associated with objects is called existence. Brahman associated with thoughts is called experience. Every experience is again an expression of Brahman inside. Every thought, even though consciousness is associated with every thought, giving rise to an experience, you should again remember the 5 points which I just spoke to you about in connection with existence. Same 5 principles, same 5 points apply to consciousness also. This consciousness is not a product, or the property of the thought. It is associated with the thought, all right. Just like existence is associated with every object. Similarly, consciousness is associated with the thought, but it is not a part of the thought. It is not a product of the thought. It is not a property of the thought. It is there in every thought, but it is not part of it. Consciousness is an independent entity that pervades and makes it a live experience. Consciousness lends light. It illumines the thought and enables us to have the experience. And consciousness is not limited by the boundaries of thought. Same idea. Suppose I say elephant, and immediately every one of you in your mental picture, a picture of elephant comes. So you have an elephant thought. That elephant would have a boundary and all that. So the thought as if has boundary, but the consciousness that is illuminating the thought, this is not limited by the boundaries of thought. And consciousness survives even after the departure of the thought. After I said elephant, I say a horse. Elephant thought is gone, horse thought has come. Even though the elephant thought departed, consciousness did not depart. It is there, ready to illumine the next thought. The beauty is, even after all thoughts are gone, I replaced one with another, but even in the limiting case when all thoughts are gone, consciousness will survive. Even a blank mind will be pervaded by consciousness. It is because of consciousness, even blankness is experienced. And finally, number 5, the surviving consciousness cannot be associated with any object or experience. And that is because the medium is gone. It's not that consciousness is not gone. Only the object that you can associate that, and therefore the experience is not there. So he says, cintā-rahito, devoid of thought, that consciousness is not associated, connected to any thought, that's all. So consciousness pervades every thought, but it is not connected to any thought. It pervades every thought, it is not connected to any thought. If consciousness were to be connected to a thought, when the thought goes away, consciousness will go away. No, no, no. That does not happen. The very fact that consciousness survives even after the elimination of every thought indicates consciousness is asanga. Existence is asanga, unattached, not connected. Existence pervades objects. Existence is not connected to the object. Consciousness pervades the thought, but it is not connected to any thought. Therefore, consciousness is cintā-rahito. So, therefore, Brahman is called Jnanam Brahma. So, first we said Satyam Brahma. Sat. Now, Jnanam Brahma, otherwise called Chit. So, Sat Chit. Then comes Anantam Brahma. So, it is given in the next line, Ekam. That existence, consciousness that pervades all objects and thoughts and not limited by either the objects or the thoughts is Ekam, non-dual. Ekam means non-dual, undivided, akhanda. Objects are divided, thoughts are divided. Any object is a separate. This book is divided from pen. Okay, objects are divided. And when you think thought of this book, that is different from the thought of a pen. So thoughts are divided, objects are divided. But existence consciousness is not divided. Therefore, it is not limited. If it is one undivided principle, why do you give two different words, existence and consciousness? Okay. Simple answer is, we use this all the time. Just like one and same person gets different titles or name. Say a father at home. To his children, his father. When he goes to work, he becomes a manager. So he's called manager. So on and so forth. So it depends on the role. Having many names, words does not mean many things. Brahman is called existence when it is associated with objects. In the context of objects, Brahman is called existence. In the case of thoughts or experiences, the word used is consciousness, that's all. Outside it is called existence. Inside it is called consciousness. Associated with objects, the word used is existence. When associated with the subject, we say consciousness. In fact, even that Brahman gets a different name. This has always been something confusing. Generally, Brahman, as a support of objects of the world outside, we use the term Brahman. And that same consciousness, when it is enlivening an individual, it is called Atman. So, two different names depending upon the context. So, it is one and the same, but it has two different names. Without any association to either objects or subject, what would you call it? without any association to either objects or subject, what would you call it? Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. It is amatrah, chaturtah, avyavaharyah. It is not available for any transaction. It is turiyam. It is the fourth. It is silent, that cannot be talked about. Therefore, ekam, divisionless, and we translate it as anantam. So we have covered the three, satyam, jnanam, anantam. Now we come to ameyam. If it is divisionless Brahman, it cannot have pramata, prameyam, the subject-object division, the knower and the known. Therefore, it is called ameyam. Meyam means an object. Ameyam means it is not an object of your knowledge. It cannot be objectified. Divisionless existence, consciousness, cannot be objectified. Therefore, do not ask, how do you know that divisionless Brahman? Because the question itself is wrong. When you say, I want to know Brahman, you want to make Brahman an object of your thought. It will be a knowable thing that is different from the knower, and that it cannot be. It is never an object of knowledge. Therefore, it is ameyam. So this is the fourth definition of Brahman. Satyam, jnanam, anantam, aprameyam. Anashino prameyasya tasmat yujyasva bharata, said in Bhagavad Gita. Aprameya is called here ameyam. Now, Ramana Maharshi asks, kathaṁ smṛāmastamameyamekaṁ? Kathaṁ, how? Smṛāmaha, to remember. Kathaṁ smṛāmaha, how can I remember? Tam, that. If it is not an object of knowledge, how can it be an object of meditation? How can I meditate upon it? How can I contemplate upon it? How can I know it? It is not an object of knowledge. It is not an object of worship. It is not an object of meditation. How can I meditate on that Brahman? It's a rhetorical question. I cannot. Then what is nididhyasana? What is meditation? If you cannot meditate upon Brahman, how does Shastra talk about Atma Dhyanam, Brahma Dhyanam, Vedantic meditation, all that? So Ramana Maharshi says, meditation on Brahman is nothing but abidance in Brahman without objectification. Remembrance of Brahman is only abidance, being established in Brahman without objectification. Therefore, he says, tasya smritihi, remembering that, tasya smritihi, remembering that is tatra dṛḍha niṣṭā eva. Niṣṭā, abidance. It is abidance. Dṛḍha, firm. Tatra, there, in that. So remembering that is abiding in that. Niṣṭā means abidance. And how that niṣṭā should be? Dṛḍha, firm, cannot be coming and going. Firm abidance. Firm abidance in Brahman without objectification is remembering Brahman. The question is, what do you mean by that? Abidance in Brahman without objectification is abidance, the knowledge that I am Brahman. This knowledge need not be objectified. And it cannot be objectified, it should not be objectified. That Brahman I am. Abide in this knowledge. Okay, now, what do you mean by abidance in the knowledge? Abidance in knowledge is non-forgetfulness of this knowledge. Abidance in any knowledge is non-forgetfulness of the knowledge in and through all transactions, in and through everything. Firm abidance means just not during meditation, but 24/7. As you go about your life, every minute the knowledge should be with you. That is dṛḍha niṣṭā, firm abidance. Then the next question is, what is meant by non-forgetfulness of the knowledge? Do you keep on repeating, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman? Even though we say in meditation, one thought, I am Brahmasmi, I am Brahmasmi. Does it just mean that repetition of that all the time? Does it mean the repetition of the thought in the mind all the time? It's not the repetition of the word or the thought, because if you just keep doing that, you may not be able to do anything else. It's not feasible. Non-forgetfulness means effortless availability of this knowledge whenever you want. Suppose I ask you, if you are a man or a woman, or your name, how much time do you need to remember whether you are a man or a woman, or to give me your name? That data is available to you all the time, effortlessly. You do not struggle to recollect your gender or name. Do you have to repeat that you are a man? I am a man. I am a woman. I keep repeating my name. No. You don't say your name or think about it unless that information is needed in a particular situation, and that is available just like that. Similarly, if this knowledge is accessible to you throughout the day in all transactions, the knowledge that I am Brahman, that is dṛḍha niṣṭā. Brahma niṣṭā is jnana niṣṭā. There is no Brahma niṣṭā other than jnana niṣṭā. Remembrance of Brahman is non-forgetfulness of the knowledge that I am Brahman. So these are the 5 ideas given in this first significant verse. Brahman is satyam, jnanam, anantam, aprameyam. And remembrance of Brahman is non-forgetfulness of the knowledge that I am Brahman. This itself is Mangalacharana. This is Mangala Shloka. This Vastu Nirdesha Mangalacharana. So this is the first Mangala Shloka, and this takes as a second Mangala Shloka also, that we will see next Saturday. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.